Coach Adam Fossett Show brought to you by the B.B. Calmer Alumni Association, and an easy win for the Tigers last week over Woodland on the road. And Coach Fossett, you rang up a lot of points. You got to play a lot of players.
We did. Played a lot of guys, played everybody that dressed, and got to play a lot of young guys.
Who was that guy that came out of the stand y'all played?
We were very fortunate to score a lot of points early and capitalize on some stuff. And I thought offensively we really fired on all cylinders. We threw the ball around, we ran the ball well. So we got to do some things. We got to work on some stuff and get better during that time. So, Woodland played hard. They're playing a lot of young guys right now.
And Woodland's not indicative of some of the teams you're going to be playing down the stretch either.
No doubt. Our schedule is going to gradually get tougher and tougher as we go down the stretch, and you feel like, this week with Ramburn, they're a tougher team. Next week you have Vincent, who's on a roll. You go off region to go 2 sacks, and then you get Isabella at home, and those are all big games. Especially the region games coming up for us are all big games. So for us to be able to get a region win early, right out of the gate is huge. Because region wins are important as far as playoffs and seeding, and based on our crossover region, we do not want to go on the road on the first round.
Yeah, easy win over Woodland. You gave up a field goal. The defense, the only thing they gave up all night. You had a lot of points on offense on the scoreboard. Who are some players that kind of caught your attention during that game?
Offensively, I thought Rayleon Sims played well again for us. He had 7 carries, 140 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So
pretty good night.
That's a pretty good stat line. I thought Richard Weed is catching the ball well for us. And
he's getting better and better, this young guy.
He is. He's getting better. He's making, when he has the ball in his hands, he can make guys miss. We threw the ball. I think we threw the ball to 6 or 7 different receivers. So able to spread it around, and we've got. When we get protection and we do what we're supposed to do, and Devin throws a good ball, we've got weapons. We've got James Carmichael, Chris Garrett, Richard Weed, Jai Gaddis. All those guys can be weapons for us in our offense. So if we can put it all together, and we have our running game and our passing game, we're pretty tough.
Speaking of the running game, you were kind of nicked up going into the Woodland game. How'd that go?
We're good. I think everybody's healthy now. I think everybody's kind of back to game form. We still have some bumps and bruises, but overall we're pretty healthy going into the game.
You have shown that you have some depth at that running back spot too.
Yeah, we do. And with Kamor's injury, Ray had to step up and play. And then we've got a little young guy, Cam Gaddis, has come in. And he's a little, man, he's all over the place. He does a good job. I think he had about 70 yards rushing Friday night. So he's been a real surprise for us as far as just getting in there, and because he's a little bitty guy, but he gets in there and, man, he'll dart around. He's not afraid of contact. He came up and made some tackles for us defensively. So Cam has been a real bright spot for that young group coming
Defensively, you give up 3 points, that's all.
Yeah, defensively we play well. Chris Wilson's still playing lights out for us defensively. We've been able to move him around a little bit, and I think that's reignited a fire in him to be able to do that. So he's playing some outside. He's in some coverage some. He's 6'4". He's got an 83-inch wingspan. When he sticks his arm out, he's covering a lot of ground. So. And then he's playing offensive line for us, but he's done a great job for us. Linebacker play has gotten a lot better, and our linebacker play has got to continue getting better week in and week out. We've got to be able to see what's going on. We've got to be able to read pulling guards. We've got to be able to find the ball and do what we're supposed to do. So a couple times we didn't get lined up right, but that's more of those younger guys, just little nerves, getting those younger guys in there. Our goal was to get the shutout. Defensively, we rested. We didn't play any of the starters in the second half. But if the if Woodland's offense got inside the 30, we put the first defense back in, just to preserve a shutout. But they got a field goal on us late, which I didn't know the kid could kick it that far, but he kicked about a 26, 27-yarder on us.
Tomorrow night, region game here at the stadium against Ranburn, and Ranburn coming off, they scored a lot of points against Fayetteville last week.
Yeah, Ranburn's a tough team. Coach Bailey's always going to have those guys ready. He's a good guy. He knows what he has. He knows what he has to work with, and he makes the most of it. They're gritty. They're a physical bunch.
Pretty big on that offensive line.
They are big up front. Young man Carson Hall on their team he's a Air Force Academy commit, and he's number 79. You'll recognize him. He's a big fella on the field. So good kid, but hard football player. Plays well. They use him in a lot of situations, short yardage situations. They'll put him in the backfield and just hand it to him and let him run. So we'll have our work cut out for us. Obviously, we're going to have some weather issues and some rain in the forecast as well.
How do you teach handling the football when it's wet?
We've had the opportunity with the weather. This week, like Monday, it rained like crazy at practice. So we stayed in it and practiced and got after it. And it's a mindset, to be honest with you. And mentally, if we can go into tomorrow knowing, hey, it's gonna rain, and there is going to be rain at some point in time. It may rain the whole time. It may, we don't know. But if that mindset is, hey, it's just rain, do what we can do to control it. And the good thing is it's rain and we're on an artificial surface. It's not like we're on a natural surface that's going to continue to deteriorate as the day goes. So, a little rain never hurt anybody, and it'll present a challenge. But they're playing the same challenge. They're playing in the same conditions we're playing. So psychologically, we got to be the tougher team, and psychologically block out all that other stuff.
Where's this Tiger team 3 games into the season, you think?
Improving. We still have to continue to improve. We get with some of the same teams that we've had, like with Ranburn. We've beat Ranburn the past 2 years. So you have to really emphasize to these guys that was the last 2 years. Kids live in the moment until you get to a sporting event, and then they're like, oh, well, we beat them the past 2 years, or we beat them, So you really got to emphasize, guys, we got to move forward. You've got to prepare for this team. They're not gonna, I tell the guys all the time, teams aren't going to just lay down for you because you beat them. Teams want to beat you now because you have beat them, and trying to get 14 to 17-year-old kids to understand that is tough at times. But I think if we continue to improve, we're going to be okay. I think, and seeing we talked about depth. Some of our young guys are finally starting to get it. They're finally starting to understand, hey, I can help this team out. I may not be a starter, I may not play all the time, but I can help this team out. And that will be key down the stretch is depth. We've got to have depth. And
with tomorrow night and tomorrow rain forecast right now most of the day tomorrow, that's more conducive to running the football, and you got to feel good about running the football as a Tiger going in tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think we will be okay lining up and running the ball. We have a lot of weapons in place. We have a lot of guys. Ray's running the ball well. I think Kamor's ready to get back in the mix and get going. And Cam Gaddis is there if he's available. We have Richard Weed on the edge that can run the ball. He gets a couple carries here and there to get to the edge. So I like what we have in our arsenal, and whether it rains or doesn't rain, we're going to line up and play football.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Coach Adam Fossett, head football coach and athletic director at BB Colmer this morning. Our guest and kickoff tomorrow night. region game against Ranburne, and with the weather forecast to be kind of bad, it's so important that we have fans in the stands cheering this team on.
Yeah, we got to have some fans in the stands. There's got to be, you know, we got to have a crowd. You know, you can dry off after the game, and that's we had a good following. It's funny, we had a really good following to Woodland. Had a good crowd there, and some of the starters were standing on the sidelines in the second half. And they're like, Coach, the crowds, they're not even into the game. I said, guys, it's 42-0. Like they're ready to go home at this point. I said, I'm kind of bored, you know. So, but we've got to have a crowd there. We've got to have a large group, and our crowd's got to get a little more. They got to get a little bit louder for us. They've been kind of the Chillsburg game. It was a different atmosphere. It wasn't very loud back there. We did have some students out there making some noise and doing some stuff for us, but got to challenge the crowd to get into the game more and cheer our guys on a little bit more.
All right, kickoff tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Legion Stadium region game. B.B. Comer hosting Ranburne. Coach, we'll talk to you again next week. Brought to you by the B.B. Comer Alumni Association. Coach Adam Fossett of the B.B. Comer Tigers. More Daybreak after this.